Good evening, everybody. Matrix here, and here's my watch list for August 28th. Okay, taking a look at the SPY right now. Last night on Twitter, I mentioned about the 288 level, and that that's going to be the key area. As you can see here, I have the 288 marked off. It's basically right smack dab in the middle of everything, though. Although this is a key area, I mean, if we come back here into August 5th, 6th, and 7th, this is a price point that it topped out at, and then also August 12th as well, and August 26th. So 288. My thesis today was that I was going to see how it reacted at the 288, and this morning when it gapped up, it just basically sold right off. So the market in itself is not ready to run back up yet. I mean, as you can see from the action, even though it gapped up over a key price point, it still sells off and it stayed under and having a hard time. It does look like after hours is rounding back up a little bit, but on very low volume, bringing in the fear and greed index right here. It's still in extreme fear. Basically, the overall market does not have confidence at all in buying anything right now, and it has yet to make up its mind. So with that said, I'll be watching the 288 again tomorrow. The day has not started yet, like the pre-market and the futures for tomorrow have not started yet, so it's pretty hard to see what's going to happen tomorrow as of right now. The 290 is pretty key. I don't know if it can get back above. I'm looking at this area right here. Is 289, give or take. I personally like it to be more on the bearish side. I can't call out what's going to happen during the futures when it opens up at midnight tonight. So nothing I can really do about that. But however, my stance on the SPY overall and the overall market is more on the bearish side right now, and consolidate eventually reach this 285 and under as well. So with that said, let's get into the watch list. A lot of good plays tomorrow. First up, we have ADSK. They announced earnings after hours, and even though they beat revenues on quarter two, they announced a miss of the quarter three guidance, as well as they missed the guidance by 3 to 7 cents earnings per share, and they also cut their for the year 2020 guidance as well. So with a company cutting their future guidances both for the year and for the quarter, I do think there's a lot of downside to this stock in the next few days to come. Now, with that said, after hours it has sold off a lot, so I do expect it to come back up a little before the next move down, tomorrow being Wednesday. I mean, if we are going to get a retracement day tomorrow, it could be like a run back up to around the 237.5s area, and then bring it back on down. What's very key to me is that a lot of people are underwater on ADSK. Potentially, ADSK used to be a pretty good performer for the past few years. I mean, as you can see, this run up. However, and with that said, even today, prior to the earnings, people have been buying this up, right? Today, it actually opened up and ran. Looking at this 5-minute chart, the past few days, people have just been buying it on this bottom action right here, using this 143 area as like a risk. And now that it's snapped, they're really pretty much underwater right now. So any pop is short for me tomorrow. Watching the 135 real quick, key psychological whole number coming into the daily chart as well. There is a lot of hints and clues where a stock, the stock itself will get stuffed and reject. If I zoom out a little bit on daily chart here, let's see, right around this area at the early month, the first month of the year, January, you see how this topping action is. in early January at right at the 137.50. So that's why I called out 137.50 to be a resistance area right here. So a pop and drop. Also watching the 135 as well, because you can see 135 pretty key right here throughout the whole year plus. So let's zoom back out real quick and plot in the 135. You'll see why this is a very key level. Okay, so there's that 135. We're trading slightly under it. So depending on what it does tomorrow morning, if it gaps up or gap down, the 132 coming down here, the next target area, we have the 131 and change 132, right? Today it bottomed out after hours at 132.5. Now the stock has an average true range of $4.57, I believe, or $4.51. Okay, so a pop and drop um, from I guess from the 137.5 down to the 132.50 would be a pretty nice move to test these lows again. If it gaps down tomorrow, I'm going to look for a pop into the 135 and short it as well. I could see the stock cutting the full year's guidance. The stock can come all the way down to at least 120 here for the next quarter if the economy continues the way it does. So I do like this for short very much. However, I mean, always keep in the back of your mind that the stock has sold off a lot. Tomorrow it could be a retracement day. And with that said, if it gaps up and starts showing signs of it holding 135, then it's a long instead. Then I'll play it up to the 137.50 to the 140s area. Okay, just know that a lot of people are holding the bag around this area and they're stuck. So if the stock does by some chance of a miracle get back up here around this 140s area, then that's actually the cleaner short. Okay, so ADSK, JWN, Nordstrom, retail stock recently announced earnings. What uh, this stock's very interesting to me. This is the earnings gap right here on August 21st. Okay, and it closed very weak. Okay, after the earnings pop, basically the next day it got hammered down by the shorts, and people are not buying it. And from the way it closed, it does look like it wants to fill this gap right here up to the 2665 area. So there is still a lot more ways down to go. I'm going to look for a pop and drop. We have key resistance at the $28 mark as well as intraday 28.20 right over here. So basically, if the stock stays under 28.20, that's where I'm going to be shorting from. And I'll be targeting it to fill the gap. The stock has an average true range of $1.58. So coming down to from 28 to 26.5 area, that's basically its average true range. So I really like JWN. This is a slower mover. It's low beta and it's got a very tight spread. Still has higher than relative volume at about 2 and change. So definitely in play tomorrow and a very nice easy watch. ROKU all-time highs. William Blair comes out with an upgrade today. I was trading ROKU today as well. After this pop and well, let's talk about what happened today, right? We have the upgrade and then we got the open above its all-time highs at 145, right? And then we got the run, okay? And basically, what happened today was right after the run, people are taking profits because from this 140 breakout, people have been buying this 140 breakout, right? So profit take was due, and from then on in the afternoon, right at 1 o'clock, these shorts covered, and I believe some buyers are coming back in to buy this dip here, and it was a great momentum. Now, with that said, the stock has closed right underneath its all-time highs. From the way it's closing pretty strong, right at 147. So I do anticipate a gap up. To me, this looks like it wants 150. Just to take a wild guess, if I'm going to draw a trend line here on the daily chart, it leads up to the 150, give or take, right? So it does have some more room to go. It's a little bit overextended right now. So my take on it tomorrow is more of a gap up and then sell off situation. So I do want to see it gap up tomorrow. Um, we have the all-time highs at 147.75 today. So that's a key resistance area. I do anticipate it to gap up above it and then probably at the open pop and drop. And let's see what it does at the all-time highs around the 178 area. Oh, sorry, 148 area. Um, I don't think it can go to 150 yet tomorrow. However, I mean, if it gaps up at 150, then I'm definitely shorting it at the open to close the gap, uh, and watch it pull down and consolidate for a few days before the next run. We have key support here at 145, which is today's open. Okay, so it basically dumped down and reclaimed. Once it gained back the 145 mark, as you can see here, the stock just had a lot of buying momentum coming in. Okay, so if it dips out at the open and holds the 145, that's also a long to, in my opinion. I do like this ticker for a long, and it's looking very good. That's ROKU. ATVI Activision had an announcement today, okay, and they basically re-released the World of Warcraft Classic today, and the reaction was fantastic. As you can see, the stock did a technical breakout of a key $50 mark. So with a technical breakout of a psychological and a key area here, this catalyst is very, very significant. And as I scroll back through this daily chart, as you can see, this little cup here, it's basically gapped up and start running. It even pulled back and held the dip here at the 50 mark. So this is a very good sign of a strong chart here. The next area of resistance, I am looking for 51.50. Okay, so for it to continue to run tomorrow, it needs to get above 51.50. Okay, and looking at it right now, the way it closed, pretty strong. I am anticipating a gap up. And if it gaps up 150, 150, I'm going to look for open to hold and run. With that said, if it opens a little flat, then I'm going to look for a pull down, see if 50-50 test or $50 test as well for the double bottom and then long it. The next area target here we have, so here, on the daily chart, as you can see, here's the 51.50, right? So very key area. It needs to gap up over and above or run above it and stay above it to be continued to be bullish. And yeah, there's the next few days of running for this ticker, in my opinion, if it can do that, if it can hold above 51.50. Otherwise, we'll see. I do see $50 mark holding though. I mean, we got super volume as well. Very bullish, very significant catalyst and technical movements here. So definitely a good watch. Average true range, I believe, is $1.50 as well. Okay. And then on the side watch, we have Uber closing with volume fading right now, closing right at the $33 mark. However, I mean, if you're looking just the past few days, looking at this closing price, this is engulfing, engulfing, engulfing. It does look like it's about to snap the 33 and stay under. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a test and a snap. Key price points here. We have the 33.50, 33.30, 33.40 area. So looking for a pop and drop, any kind of pop. I do want to short this, closing very weak. So I'm looking for a pop to join trend and short it right back down. Okay, with LYFT as well. LYFT, even though it had Guggenheim had an upgrade yesterday, this thing cannot hold, and it came and closed right back under where it started yesterday, and it couldn't hold yesterday's lows. from its close. So that's what I'll be watching for. Looking for pop and drop. This $50 mark to 50-20 area is very key. So watching that move, looking for a pop and drop continuation. Uh, Guggenheim, the upgrade in itself, a little bogus in my opinion. Reading the news about it, I'm not a big fan of it. It's more of like a manipulation type of move, telling the public to buy. When I think in my opinion, I think they want to sell. I mean, looking at this trend right now, it's a very clear downtrend. It shows no signs of coming back or bottoming. Although this does look a little bit better than Uber, though. I mean, it closed on a higher low from its previous days, whereas Uber, it's coming down and it's closing lower and lower. So I do like the Uber short more than I do like the Lyft short, but the Lyft short is definitely there. 51 and 50 key levels to watch. Okay, so that's basically my watch list for this evening. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Hope you enjoy my analysis, and I'll see you guys out bright and early tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Ciao.